Hi guys, welcome back to the Butterfly Effect podcast. In today's video, we are looking at hot takes from none other than the Life is Strange games. So, about a month ago, I asked you if you have any hot takes about, any of the games, whether it's Life is Strange 1, Life is Strange 2, Double Exposure, etc. And we've had 15 comments come in, so thank you very much to everyone that, submitted one. But before we start, Jack, I'm going to ask you, do you have any Life is Strange hot takes?
Oh, I do, yeah. Quite the humdinger as well. I won't go into my reasons why, because maybe we could make a video out of it if you guys want to see it. But my Life is Strange hot take is that I think that Max Caulfield as a character is considerably overrated. I think actually that the charm of the Life is Strange games tends to come from the characters that you meet. I know that the argument is there for her being, a playable character, so she's a little bit more bland, but I think some of the attention and love that she gets, I don't know, I don't think it's quite warranted. That's just me.
Get him comments. Nah, for real. I kind of see it. Yeah, I think there's merit to it, to be honest, lads. So yeah, I'm gonna hold my tongue as well a lot, but yeah, no, I see it. I'm going to go into the first hot take, and it's one that is kind of repeated in a few places, mate, so I'm going to kind of lump them together. We have Breaking Brian, one of the regulars that we have on the channel. We absolutely love Brian here. He says Chloe is a toxic person. That is also backed by Mr. Clean As Me, who thinks Warren's a better friend than Chloe. And Jennifer FFX says that Max and Chloe are both insufferable characters. It's kind of also backed up by Elijah Raymate, who says that he hates Safi just as much as Chloe, and thinks and Daniel saying that the secondary characters are often quite annoying. Jack, do you think Chloe is an awful toxic person?
No, I don't. I think she's a product of the experiences and things that have happened to her. I think there's certainly things that she does that are not good, but that doesn't overall make you a toxic person. We're all human, we're all prone to errors. I think the one that comes to mind with Chloe, with me, where there is no real backing it, is I think it's when Kate rings you, and if you choose as Max to obviously go to Kate or talk to Kate, and she gets a little bit pissy with you, that's a demonstration of her selfishness. But again, as Before the Storm explains, and you see that it's because she feels abandoned by Max. You can see the rationale behind it. She's got a lot going on in her personal life at home. So, I don't think she's toxic. I think actually Chloe is a really interesting character. And certainly when we've done Before the Storm, I think she merits her own video to really go into.
Yeah, I have to back my boy on this one. I think Chloe is an incredible character. And, I think you have to look at all the abandonment issues, losing her dad at such a young age. I think that will kind of chip at a person in a really horrible way. And yeah, like you say, I think the biggest thing I can think of is when she doesn't want you to answer the phone to Kate, who's clearly struggling. And in Chloe's defense, I would say that she didn't know it was Kate, didn't know what she was going through. But equally, you can counter it that if you do actually save Kate in episode 2, that she does apologise at the hospital. And I think that's the beauty of Before the Storm. Before the Storm kind of paints Chloe in a new light and kind of really helps you understand those layers. So yeah, I wouldn't change Chloe for the world, and I don't think that having a nice person who is a perfect character would really help these Life is Strange games. I like that she's rough around the edges. So yeah, I'm with Jack on that one, to be honest. But I do appreciate you guys submitting it, and your points are very valid.
I think that's a nice little comparison with Warren there as well, isn't it? Because, there are things that even Warren is a little bit controlling, isn't he? Or he feels like that he warrants, no pun intended, your attention. Like speaking of Max here. But, you could say perhaps he is a better friend because he goes out of his way to help you X, Y, and Z. But is that entertaining? You're playing a game for entertainment purposes. So, I don't know. I think I'd still lean to say that Chloe, far more interesting. I don't think she's toxic, but she's just made poor choices on occasions.
Yeah, and I still like Warren as a character. I think Warren is how to handle not being liked in a romantic way honorably, rather than say like an Elliot in Before the Storm. So I think I look back at Warren with so much respect because of meeting the person that Elliot was in Before the Storm, lad.
So we've got a comment here from Supreme King, who says Life is Strange 2 is better than Life is Strange 1 in story branching, because Life is Strange 2 has more endings and also more different scenarios, but story-wise, Life is Strange 1 is better than Life is Strange 2. Side note, I love your videos and I hope your channel gets more attention. Thank you very much, Supreme King, living up to your name there. I've got to say I'm in complete agreement with you. If this is a hot take, then I'm there with you, boy, because the branching is better. You get multiple endings. One of the criticisms of 1 is this binary choice, and it can feel like that your choices throughout the game didn't really matter as a consequence. And the stories in 1 is definitely better than Life is Strange 2. So yeah, that's for me not a hot take.
Yeah, I agree with you, Supreme King. I think Life is Strange 2, admittedly, it's been a while since I played it, and I will cover it on the channel at some point, and I can't wait to dive back into it. But yeah, you look at Life is Strange 1, the ending, it's 2 endings, and one's so much more developed than the other one. Life is Strange 2 gave us 4 endings. So yeah, and thank you very much for the love. I very much appreciate you, Supreme. So JCJ Tiju says, I prefer Alex Chen's powers over Daniel's power in Life is Strange 2. Daniel's power felt too Marvel for my liking. So True Colors is a game that we've not yet played, and we will do again. Admittedly, when I saw the trailer for True Colors, I was a little skeptical, because I was like, we've had rewinding time, we've had, telekinesis, and now we're having like an empath who can feel emotions. And I was a little kind of baffled and like, I don't know if I can bond with that. I do have a good friend who has played the game and said, no, honestly, it does work. It does work. So I'm going to have to see it for myself, and I am willing to go into it with an open mind. But I know what you mean about the whole Marvel thing, telekinesis. I feel like rewinding time is such a good power because it kind of links into kind of like the making choices and the whole genre of the game. The telekinesis just felt a little bit random. I didn't really kind of like, I don't think it gelled into the story as well as Life is Strange 1's did. So you know what, JC, it might be that I agree with your hot take as soon as I play True Colors.
Okay, moving on to Tatjana's. They say, I think you should play Before the Storm before Life is Strange to get the full impact of Chloe's life and Rachel's disappearance. Interesting. Life is Strange 2 is amazing and my favourite Life is Strange game. As you well know, Tatjana, I do disagree with you on that one, but like Liam said just now, I am keen to get back into Life is Strange 2, especially after playing Double Exposure. I think the episodic characters in Life is Strange 2 show more personality than the majority of characters in Life is Strange. For me personally, that is a hot take. I can barely remember characters in Life is Strange 2, which I think says a lot. I like Amber Price more than Pricefield and Ryan more than Steph. I can't comment on Ryan more than Steph, but I do agree with you, Amber Price. I think the relationship of Rachel, Amber and Chloe is far more convincing than actually Chloe and Max, so I'm with you there. Chloe and Max breaking up in Double Exposure is a realistic scenario. It is. I'm pretty sure I said this in the analysis series as well. It does feel like a slap in the face because it's an easy get around for, not honouring the choices from the first game. But it is, breakups do happen, it could well be, especially from what they've gone through. And probably the hottest take, Double Exposure is a good game. No, not a great one, but I liked it. I wouldn't go as far as to say it was good. I'd go as far as to say it was okay. I think it was good up to the end of episode 3 and then it fell off. So I'd say it's like middle ground for me. I've spoke a lot there, lad. I don't know if you wanted to go through them.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm with you, Jack, on all of these here. I do completely get your points, Tatjana. With the first one you mentioned, I actually really like the way you play Life is Strange 1 and then you go into Before the Storm. I do get that people like doing it chronologically, and that's fair, whatever floats your boat. But I really like, as we've mentioned in the Chloe section, that like when you sort of see all these flaws for Chloe, I feel like Before the Storm comes in and then it makes you understand it and you almost look at Chloe in a complete new light. So it's a very interesting hot take, but yeah, I don't know. I think I'm the traditionalist that likes playing it the way like it's kind of set out on release, maybe. So we have Dark Tiger, who's got two hot takes. The first one being that Life is Strange 1 and Before the Storm have little replayability. And you know what? I agree with you. You go to mention that Life is Strange 2 and True Colors have more replayability. And that is completely fair and valid. You mentioned that Life is Strange 1, there's no real sort of decisions that really changed the game up until the final choice. And you know what? You're right. It is an incredibly linear game. And I think that when I pick up Life is Strange 1 and Before the Storm again, in a weird way, I think it's because I love the characters and I love the world that is Arcadia Bay. So I'm not going to dispute you in any shape or form. I think when you take it like from a choice-based game, the other ones are potentially better. But yeah, so I'm going to agree with you on that one. And the second one is that you don't like Max's rewind powers and that you think it kind of goes against the genre. I completely get it. And I know in a previous comment I mentioned how I thought I preferred it to the telekinesis. I thought it actually worked better for the genre. And I do get it. It is flawed because there'll be like a choice that you make and then you'll get maybe yelled at by someone and then you can rewind and change it. But then the moment you walk out the door, for example, with Ray Wells after the fire alarm, if you know, he's saying, oh, do you know what happened? The moment you walk out the door, you can't rewind anymore. So it's like your rewind power pretty much works in 2-minute spells. So it's not brilliant, but in a weird way, I actually quite liked it in terms of sort of like the puzzle solving element, like how you might spill a drink on a book and then you might want to have to rewind time to bring it back. I feel that it worked better in that sense. And yeah, in a weird way, I think I got on better with the time traveling than I did with the telekinesis, to be honest. But I do appreciate you putting that one in, and it's a very valid point.
Yeah, I think for me, as far as like the rewinding powers, it's exactly what I was thinking, is that I don't necessarily look at it from a choice point of view. I look at it as more of a gameplay mechanic for the puzzles. I even think about that like nightmare sequence bit where you're walking about the lockers and you've got like David with the flashlight and you've got to like use the rewind time if you get caught. That can get annoying, but nonetheless I feel like it is at least something that the game offers, whereas, you know, going back to Life is Strange 2, when you don't have the power, I think it robs you of that gameplay, but that game has better choices. So it's really what, you know, it's horses for courses. It's really what you're after. I don't necessarily have an issue with it in Life is Strange 1. Okay, so the final comment here we've got from Fleecy says, more and more people are coming around on this. Ooh, let's see if you get me and Liam on it. I think as you get older, you notice how horrible a mother Joyce is. Mate, there is going to be things here that I sympathise with. There's also going to be things, though, where I'm like, I'm not too sure because I don't know what the time span is. It's been a while since I played the game. From when William died. It is William, isn't it? Chloe's dad.
Yeah.
What the gap is between him dying and then her meeting David. But there is a point where she should be allowed to move on. Obviously, it's going to impact her daughter, and that's going to have complications in it herself. There are things that Joyce is certainly questionable on, but I feel like Joyce, and this is the big strength for me of Life is Strange, it's the characters. There's so much complexity, even like characters such as Joyce, who are not a main character. They're sort of supplementary, really, to like the entire game. But there's like real talking points. So like, it's what I was saying before. When we've done Before the Storm, there's going to be loads of character videos based on the Life is Strange franchise because there's a lot to talk about. But I don't sit in that camp as same as you, Fleecy, that she's a horrible mother. She's probably trying to navigate as best as she can, looking out for herself, but also trying to trade that off looking after her daughter. It must be pretty difficult.
Yeah, Fleecy, I remember when we played I think it was the Before the Storm stream, and I was really taken back by it when, you know, there was so much Joyce hatred. And you know what, I get it. There's a lot that you say here that is quite valid. But I don't know, I think the story of Joyce and Chloe is such an interesting one. It's the story of a mother and a daughter who have different ways of dealing with their grievance, and I think it's told super well. One's the mum who wants to kind of move on and like, you know, kind of like soldier through, get through life, look out for the family. And I think Chloe is someone who, like, you know, is struggling more to let go. And I think it is like a really well told story. And to back Joyce up a little bit, I would say that the moment she finds out about like the cameras, you know, she will side with Chloe and kick him out. But yeah, I can't remember if she knew about hitting Chloe, which I think can happen with like the joint thing or whatever, like in the first episode. So yeah, there's a lot Joyce does wrong, but at the same time, it's just such a difficult dynamic because I've not lost a parent. I've not gone through what Chloe's gone through or what Joyce has gone through. So like, it's really difficult for me to sit here and say, actually, she is a good person or she's a bad person. But I think that's what they were going for. I think they were going for that dynamic of like two people coexisting and struggling, and then they bring this David person in to throw a spanner in the works. So I think it's really well told. And a lot of your points are justified. I completely get them. But yeah, I just think at the end of the day, this is a mum and a daughter that have gone through a trauma and they just don't have the same way of dealing with it. Guys, that's the end of the video. Thank you very much for submitting all the hot takes. There was so many interesting ones in there, to be honest. A lot that, you know, like I would consider very much a hot take that I looked at like, oh really? But I absolutely love that. Life is Strange, it's written brilliantly and there's just so much in there to dive into. And yeah, as I can tell by reading these comments, there are a lot of hot takes in there. So thank you to every person who submitted one. Jack, anything to mention?
No, obviously keep an eye out for future Life is Strange videos. We have got to do Before the Storm, Life is Strange 2 and play True Colours for the first time. So if you like Life is Strange, definitely stick around on the channel. And yeah, that's all from me.
Thank you very much, guys. See you in the next one.